Welcome into another edition of the Train with the Best podcast. I'm Craig Hoffman with Chris Gores, and sitting with us, if you've been following along on Instagram, you already know. Twitter, you already know. U.S. Women's National and Orlando Pride soccer player, Allie Krieger. Allie, good morning. How are you?
Hi, great. Thank you guys for having me.
So we're going to get to a lot of stuff, including some Q&A, which is going to be fun. We solicited questions on social media, which always leads to the best questions.
I can't wait for these.
We'll get to those in a few, but we always like to kind of get the athletic background and the background in general of the people that we talk to. And by the way, Chris, I was thinking last night, we haven't had an athlete interview in a long time on this podcast.
Who was the last one? Maybe it was Crystal. Crystal might have been the last one.
Fun.
She might have been, actually, this summer. Have we done
I don't know
any?
if I could top that one.
Crystal's was fun.
For entertainment value was high.
She actually took over the podcast.
Yeah, she did. She started asking Lorenzo stuff.
I'm going to ask you some questions now.
But when you think of kind of your foray into athletics as a kid, like what was little Allie Krieger like as she started playing sports and specifically soccer?
Oh gosh, I was 5'0" and just chasing my brother around the soccer facility. Wanted to hang out with him all the time. So that's kind of how I feel like I got introduced to soccer, and he loved it, and I just wanted to, hang out with him all the time. And so we started playing indoor, and then my father was also a coach and still is in the area. So he definitely introduced us both to the game. And my mom was, I come from a very athletic background. Both my parents played sports in college. And so, and most of their life. So I feel like that was most of my intro into sports.
So was it all soccer all the time?
No, I also did like gymnastics and tumbling, and then, basketball and volleyball as well. So I dabbled in a few other sports, which I think was really good for me as a kid because I learned like different skills, for example, like footwork skills that maybe or hand-eye coordination that maybe I wouldn't have learned just playing soccer. So I think that was very beneficial for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could definitely tell that you're one of the athletes that is good at everything, and you could see that you had that volleyball background. Yeah.
Just wait.
We went out and we did the softball game a few years ago. I was so nervous. That ball got hit to you in the outfield, and you caught it. It was natural. I was like, whew, nice. All right, I don't have to worry. I was so worried. I was like,
we won't
please
talk
don't
about
get
that
hurt.
throw.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that
throw.
throw.
No, we don't have to talk about the throw.
But you caught it.
The catch was on fleek.
Step one, complete. The most important step. At what point did you know, or did you realize, or were you told and actually believed it that like, oh, wow, I could actually be pretty good at the soccer thing?
I think that, in middle school and high school where, I was making the varsity teams and, as a freshman, I think that was, giving me an idea that, okay, that I'm actually good at this and I should stick to it. And I also have fun and I love it. So why not? It's a good fit for me. And then I think, when I got the Virginia Player of the Year in 2003, Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year, I think that was eye-opening for me. And like, okay, and then scholarship, offers started coming in from schools around the country. And that's kind of when it started to kind of settle in, because I just loved to play and at the high level and hang out with my friends who were on my team. And I still have, best friends to this day that were on my first ever soccer team. So I think that's why I really enjoyed it. And then I was like, okay, maybe this could be a thing. Senior year, going into college and starting looking for schools and stuff.
And then how did that affect your training? Because at some point you go, okay, this is serious. I'm going to have to train seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, it really affected my mindset and mentality. I think at that level, you start to become more of a professional, in college, and then obviously deciding on if you want to continue to play or if you can continue to play. So I think that when I was a freshman, I got like Big Ten Freshman of the Year and starting almost every game. And so I think that was, obviously preseason was a bit of a jump for me because the game was so fast. Either I had to like sink or swim. So I decided, all right, I'm going to put in all this work and I really want to do this. So I'm ready. And that's when it kind of started to progress. My mentality got more serious.
Yeah, I mean, you've always had that work ethic that I almost have to like hold you back. I almost have to be like, Allie, we don't need that much today. So where does that come from? Has it always been like that? Has it been just competing with Kyle? Like, where does that come from?
I think it did start when I was, younger and competing with my brother all the time. So I'm like, oh, if a guy can do this, like a girl can too. Like, bring it on, right? But I always think I had that competitive mentality and determination and ambition to want to be the best at whatever I did and do. So I think that I just want to be successful and play at the highest level. And I know that I'm really good at something. So I think I need to just focus in on that and hone in on that and, see what comes of it. But I think I've always been so competitive in everything, even like a ping pong match. I'm like, no, I'm winning.
I remember
we're playing again.
I remember we were watching.
Chris, give me your best Allie competitive story.
Okay. I was actually watching ESPN one day, and it was you and Pino and somebody.
Abby.
It was Abby on the.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was after the World Cup, and they had like a little like obstacle course, right?
On SportsCenter?
Yeah, it was on SportsCenter.
I remember this. I remember this.
And so I texted all of our friends. I was like, watch how competitive Allie's going to get. This is going to be so funny because there's no way that they're going to keep score and Allie's not going to try.
Right.
And sure enough,
I was like, this is fun and games.
I'm with you.
Like,
I'm with you. If you're keeping score, I'm going to try to win.
This was a SportsCenter puff piece, and Allie was like, getting it. Like Pino goes through.
Dripping,
she was like, Pino goes through. She's like jogging, like smiling, having fun. Like you have like the serious face on, like go. Like even
go time.
Even the host was like, oh, whoa. Whoa.
Yeah. Like, she's actually
getting it. I'm like, what did you expect? If you keep score, like Allie's gonna go.
Yeah,
100%.
I'd say that's a consistent theme of the top people we talk to. So that's wholly unsurprising. On the training side, so you start taking it seriously. You're in college. You're doing everything you're doing at Penn State. Mm-hmm. At what point, though, do you kind of even more finely tune or maybe have a realization like I need some help with the training side? Because obviously eventually you wind up working with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so whether he was the first person you worked with, and if it's not, we'll get to why you chose Chris in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But like, at what point did you go like, all right, just doing sprints on a field or whatever it is isn't enough. I need help. I need guidance. I need a professional.
I think that when I was after school, we didn't have a league to join, so I made the decision to go overseas. So I didn't really have that option. I was just a 23-year-old young professional in my first year, and with Frankfurt. And I think that I just was doing anything and everything I could just to stay on the team and be in that atmosphere and play professionally for as long as I could. So I don't think mentally I was thinking that. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do whatever the team's doing. It's working. So like, this is me. And I was young, so it's a little bit different. Now I think like, we had really good trainers there. And so I never really thought, okay, I was a step behind or I need to do extra or this and that. So I think I was, fine for a certain amount of time. And then when I decided to come back, I wanted to make sure I kept, because here we don't play year round. We're only playing 6-7 months. And so I think that the other months, in the off season are very important to keep, growing and keep getting better and continuing to, keep fit and healthy. And I mean, we all live a healthy lifestyle anyway. So that wasn't really a huge deal, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose a step. And, this is even when I was 27, 26, 27. It's not, just recently that I decided to do this. So it's been in the off season. I think I needed to then spend more time and make sure that, okay, I'm not going to be losing or going a step behind and preparing myself each and every day to just keep at the top of my game and get better. And that's when I decided to get more serious about it, is when I came back here in 2012.
And so, obviously, you're local here in the DMV area. So is he. Is that kind of how that partnership starts?
Yeah, absolutely. We first met when we were at the Washington Spirit and NWSL in the season 2013 season, the inaugural season. And so we had an instant connection. I think that, we worked with him with the team. And then I was like, I really like how he, I guess, is I like how Chris is like more specific to your body type and your position, and it's kind of like he's molding you into the type of player that he envisions, or your goals and wants and needs that are you need on the field at that specific. It's not like, okay, everyone come in and we're all going to do the same thing. Like, he really modifies it for you, and I think that is something that really attracted me from the very beginning. That I was like, wow, I've never really had this knowledge before from us, from a specific trainer. And I think that he also is like, okay, well, pays attention to the specific details, which I had never had that before either. And I think that is something that I really respected and really enjoyed, because I knew that, okay, he's looking at me and what I'm doing and everyone like specifically, rather than everyone as a whole, and just like, hey, all of you come over here and like line up and do this. and all of us are doing that. It's like, actually, no, you might need this, but she doesn't. You don't necessarily always need power, but you need speed and this and that. And so I think that is something that was really helpful for me. And I was like, wow, this really opened my eyes. And I'm going to like work with him individually and see like, you know, how good or how much better I can get every day.
So one thing, Chris, I remember from talking to Allie for the interview that we did, a year ago, 2 years ago, was we started talking about some of the training stuff. And it kind of now registers in that quote that David Alexander said about DJ Swearinger, where he could out-train 90% of our industry. Yeah. And in talking to Allie, like, she seems like one of those people that now, with the knowledge she's gained, as an athlete working with you, that she could be a trainer and be a really good one. Yeah. So like, how quickly did you realize that that's how her mind worked and how special she was as an athlete mentally?
Well, I think it took more than just like a few sessions. Like, it wasn't like I jumped in there on day one, like, hey, this is how we're going to do things. No. Everybody do things my way. Like, it took a lot of me listening and just watching and observing and, you know, asking how you were doing, had nothing to do with training. You know, and then, you know, just adding small little tips here and there, and then letting them be the ones to ask for more. And then by the types of questions that you were asking, then I knew what type of information you were looking for, and I knew how to give it to you. So it wasn't just me like dumping as much of my knowledge as I could on you. It was listening to what was going to be the thing that you wanted the most out of me. Was it going to be knowledge? Was it going to be energy? Sometimes there was days when you needed energy from me. But a lot of times, like, Yael is different, Ashlyn is different. Like, they ask me different types of questions. So I know that there's certain types of information that you're looking for. So with her, I mean, she's asking for the small details. She's asking for how does this translate onto the field. So a lot of the things that we do, even when I break it down to the elementary level and I say, hey, we're doing this, and then I build it into something that looks like a movement that you do onto the field, right? So, and then you coming off of that knee injury, and so that was important too. So it was important for you to understand that you were going to be safe in these workouts, that I wasn't just going to throw you into something that was going to be detrimental to your training and to your career. So, you know, there was a lot of listening and not a whole lot less talking from me. Yeah.
And I think what helps too with Chris is that he comes from an athletic background and he's played sports, and I think like that really helps, you know, resonate with you know, professional athletes now, because you're like, okay, well, you understand because you've been there and like, you know, the movements. And I think that he watches a lot of soccer and, you know, sports, and because of the athletes that he works with, he's like, all right, you know, I watch her games because now I see the movements that she's doing, and then he'll, you know, gain knowledge from that and then apply, you know, techniques and drills and, you know, specific like details that I need to fix or adjust, or, you know, and exercises that I need to do specifically for those movements. And I think that's something that not a lot of, you know, I don't want to assume, but I, you know, haven't worked with any other trainer that has done that.
Yeah. It was interesting also. So I was at your guys' workout yesterday, and you're explaining how the drill does transition to the field explicitly. Is that something you kind of wanted, or is that something you just kind of do out of habit or for whatever reason it is?
No, it's definitely something that she wanted, and it was something that was like for her, especially in any of the, especially with the national team girls, because they're going from club season to national team camps to this and that, like, you guys are so limited in the energy that you have left over, right? So like, you have to budget things into saying, all right, like I've got camp, I've got workouts, I've got pickup, I've got this and that. So if I'm going to give you energy, precious energy that I don't have much of, how is this going to work for me? And so like, being able to translate that to the game right away, that's so important. And then you can come back in and say, all right, this isn't quite necessarily what we want this to look like. Let's break this down even more, and then come back to it. So you have to make it useful, because if it's not useful, then, like I said, they're so stretched thin already on what their schedules are like, that they don't have time to waste on something that's not going to translate to the field.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's do this. Let's go to the Q&A.
Yeah, let's get a couple of these questions.
And then if there's
some
questions that I have or Chris, you have that.
Oh, I know I've got a couple of questions too, but
let's get to the Q&A because that way we can maybe there's some crossover there. And
there's a lot
some happy fan gets to ask the question.
I have a quick question because a lot of the sentiment that you see online, even just looking through some of these questions, which aren't really questions, more of just I love you.
I see a lot of hearts emojis.
Yeah,
I love you guys too.
There's a lot of heart eyes and stuff like that. What is the thing that you think connects with fans? Because you and I have a great relationship, and it's grown so much over the last few years, and we've become really good friends. So I know what it means to me to be your friend, but there are people who have never met you, who watch you play, who know your story, and they connect with you right away. Like, what do you think is the thing that like connects with fans?
It's probably because I'm like really fun and awesome and like really pretty.
That's gonna make the Canva, the graphics that I do. That's gonna make for an amazing graphic.
I'm
like really fun and awesome.
I'm like,
oh my gosh, it's kind of cool because I try to, I'm somewhat of a private person, and I was talking about this yesterday. It's like super difficult to be so vulnerable with people who you don't even know, and they're not in like your little small group, and they don't live in your bubble. And so it's very difficult. Like I try to give a lot because I know that I want to have a connection with the fans because I love you guys, and I'm so grateful for the support. But also, I find it difficult because I like to just keep some for myself. And it's very difficult to find the good balance of that. So I feel like I try to show who I am, on social media and things like that, but not give everything because I don't want to lose myself in that process. And but as an athlete, I try and give every single thing I can because, that's what I know the fans are passionate about as well. But I feel like it's super important to kind of have somewhat of a connection because you want them to keep coming back and keep supporting. And I think it's very important to give a little more than just, a wave here and there or, thanks for coming out. It's like if you really have the connection and you're looking in someone's eyes and you're like, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate, what you're giving. I think that is also important. And then they just want to keep coming back. And you build this type of certain fan-player relationship, which obviously keeping at a arm's length, but I think that, you have to find a good balance with that. Just to have them keep supporting and because they're just as passionate as you are about a sport. Of course. And I think that is something that we both, as a player and fan, we share together, which is, I think, really cool.
And I think it's interesting, too, with the national team, there's like this sense that, like, there's an ownership almost from the fans, like, oh, you're our country's representatives.
Right.
And so, like, they want to invest in you as people, but I also totally understand, and I think I would approach it the same way if anybody cared at all about me, of, like, drawing this line, personal, professional, in terms of, okay, anything involved in the sport, I'm going to share. Anything personal. But there's also, in 2017, there's a million different social issues, and some of those cross over into sport, equal pay, things like that. You guys, as a national team, have been very outspoken, and I hate that word, outspoken. You have spoken up for yourselves on. So where do you approach, and do you feel like that line is moving of the things that you need to share so that people understand, like, the passion that you have for a certain issue is personal?
Absolutely. I think we can all kind of connect with a certain, say, organization or certain cause that we are, super passionate about outside of soccer. I think that also really helps because, that brings even more people into, sports as well. But I think in women's sports, like, we want equality across all industries. And I think that that's something that, as a group of us as in the team, that we wanted to speak about because we think that is super important. It's not just about our team and individually. It's about women's football across the world. It's about women, going to the office from 9 to 5 every single day, doing whatever you're doing. It's for everyone. But also, I think that it's really important that people understand we do have a platform and we are public figures and we need to use that platform. You don't have to think it's a responsibility, but to an extent, like, we have this great platform that we can use, that people will listen, and we need to continue to fight every single day for what is equal and for what we deserve as people in this country and people in the world. And I think that is why we have really come together and in the past year, not only as a team, but just as individuals and speaking up about causes that we really, really love and are passionate about. That, if everyone does their little part. Kay Rollins, who is the president of Orlando City Soccer, we had a meeting recently with organization that I want to work closely with in the community in Orlando, and she said something that really resonated with me. It said, if you focus on, something small that you're able to control, and that, you work really hard to help that little bubble, and that, whatever organization you want to help out, if you do your small part, then everyone does their little small part, then eventually it's all going to get better in the world. And I think that is something that's really important. So if everyone can kind of do their little part, then, we'll come together as a group and help everyone.
Yeah. As the saying goes, a simple act of kindness can create an endless ripple, right? And I think that you live that, like, you do so much for other people, and it's evident in even you just sitting down to do this podcast. Yeah.
But in football, we also say that something similar to that. We say, like, if you take care of the little things, the bigger things will take care of themselves.
Right.
So if you individually do your job on the field, the bigger thing will take care of itself, which is the team, and we're going to be successful. So
I love that. I love how, like, the lessons of life. There's so many lessons in life that you can learn just from playing soccer or any other sport. Things like that, taking care of the small things, being able to communicate well. All of those things are not just sport lessons, but those are
how
life
to work
lessons.
within an organization, to be part of something bigger than yourself. There's a ton of lessons that are great. Next question.
All right, so this question is from PEQT.
Hey, girl.
What's up, PEQT? What is the one thing you would tell high school players that you wish you had known back then?
I think I would tell high school players now, since the game is changing, that focus more on the technical side of the game rather than just being, I think, fast and athletic. Yeah, that's helped me throughout the years, but I think now the game is changing to be more technical. So when you're out at training, like, get touches on the ball as much as you can. But also outside of the soccer field, I think just what I always say is just control yourself. Don't focus on the uncontrollable, because that is just, you're just going to worry and drive yourself crazy. So control yourself, which is your attitude and your work ethic towards your training and your life, and surround yourself with good people who are going to put you in a successful situation.
The Train with the Best podcast is brought to you by Super Coffee. And Chris, there's exciting things coming in 2018 from Super Coffee, and we actually have a couple bottles sitting right here.
That's right. It's the brand new sugar-free and the creamy black.
It's
my
so
favorite.
good.
So good. 10 grams of protein, 80 calories, no sugar. You get your caffeine, you get your healthy coconut oils, you get everything you need to get it going in the morning.
Yeah, here's what stays the same. Same protein, 10 grams. Same MCTs, which helps stimulate brain function, helps kickstart your metabolism. All those same healthy benefits that make Super Coffee a superior option if you're going to drink coffee, which, like, you're an American, you are. But what's different is no sugar, no artificial sweeteners, no nothing. It is somehow, even now, better for you than it was before. So you're going to drink your coffee, you might as well make it good for you. So check out Super Coffee from Suniva. And if you go to drinksupercoffee.com and use the code TRAINWITHTHEBEST, you can get it for 25% off. Now, why would you not do that? I don't know. Maybe you haven't had any Super Coffee yet, which means your brain isn't working. So you should drink some and then go to drinksupercoffee.com and get the new sugar-free Super Coffee from Suniva. So one of the things, in training that I know that he has everybody work on is decision making too. We're talking about, like, the physical side, the technical side. How has that decision-making based training affected your play?
It's affected very positively. I think that, being so specific and I guess what I need for my position and the endurance aspect, and maybe not so much power as speed and maybe plyos training and things like that. I think that I take a lot of those little details from that specific technical training and certain movements that I do and for example, like having my chest out or my shoulders down, like, when we were training the other day. And it's just like those small little details and fixes that I need in order to make sure that I'm still a step ahead, if not, even with the opponent. So I think that those are really, really important, that I feel like has really helped me progress into.
Yeah, I mean, we do so much, even like with the fit lights where I'm moving you around and you have to make decisions. Like, she does this stuff pretty easily because she's a really good soccer player, but just being able to see the ball and your man, like who are you marking and where's the ball and where are you on the field? Like those are things that come naturally to you and you do pretty well. So I mean that's stuff that we work on quite a bit.
But even yesterday, you know, you talk about your finisher. It's a binary decision. I'm holding this microphone now. People are hearing it fall throughout the podcast. Hopefully, then I'll hear my fingers like moving on it. But you know, a binary decision: stop versus go.
Right.
You know, you add that decision making to the finisher and the ability to stop instantly. You know, reaccelerate, those kinds of things. Is different than a lot of people I think would do. Just like, oh, do a farmer's carry. Okay, now we're going to play Simon Says with a farmer's carry. All right, what else we got on the questions?
All right, so this one got asked a lot, actually. What is your favorite and least favorite exercise that I make you do?
I don't think you really make me do an exercise that I hate. Maybe the ropes. Those are like a drag.
Yeah, especially the jumping jacks on the rope. Those
suck.
Those were that was hard. But like I'm so competitive that I'm like, bring it on. Like I don't care, I'll do this like 3 more times. But I think probably the ropes. But it does get my heart rate up, and I think it's a really good exercise for me because I'd rather do that than sit on the bike for however long. But that, and then my favorite, I think, are training with the the bands where I'm having to like run forward or backwards and having to turn each way. I think that's something that has really helped me in my game, and I see that progression. I see how much better I am at turning and being able to run backwards and turn left or right. I know I still need to work on a few details in that, but that's probably one of my favorite drills that we do.
Cool. All right, let's get to some fun questions, and then we'll wrap it up with a really good one. All right. Are you going to get any more tattoos? Probably.
Yeah, I still want to get a tattoo for my brother and maybe, my mom or dad. My brother has done that in the past and is doing that. So I think that's kind of cool, and I'm inspired by that. So
what do you have right now?
I have a quote on the side of my rib cage on the left side. And then it's in German. And then I have, Liebe on my arm that was in German.
And that means?
Love.
Okay. I don't speak German, if that wasn't obvious by the question.
Nobody speaks German.
Yeah. And then I have a tattoo that, was from when I was 18.
It was fun at the time.
It was fun at the time, but we're just going to leave there.
All right.
Let me see here. There was another question here that was really good. I want to give this person credit. Kay Beckworth, without going on too long, Allie, because I know you. What is your favorite mascara and favorite nail polish?
Oh, dear. We're going to be here all night. Yeah. My favorite nail polish is probably Opie or Essie, which they need to be, giving me a little money for saying that.
Yeah.
No. But yes, I'm being serious. And then my favorite mascara, I like 3 different kinds, and then I just kind of mix them up. Sometimes, I find a new one, and I'm like, oh, I'll try this out. But it's it's from Too Faced. It's called Better Than Sex, and it's waterproof.
Nice.
And then another one is the Neutrogena, just like brown, black mascara.
Why are you looking at me like I have any idea what you're talking about?
That has like a lot of volume. And then I have one from Maybelline. That's like I forget what it's called, but it's like the pink bottle, and it's really good. And sometimes I use all 3, sometimes I only use 2, sometimes I use 1, and then some days I just go, I don't know.
Nice. All right, next fun question, and then we'll wrap it up with a really serious one. What is the Netflix TV show that you're binging on right now?
I'm currently watching. Well, I just watched Godless, and I watched Ozark, and what else was the recent one that I watched? Yeah, I finished that in like a day.
Which one was that?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things too. Yeah. But that's probably
By the
a
way,
lot of
for-
like crime shows too.
Yeah.
I love like those crime shows.
For the podcast audience, Onyx co-owner Oguchi Onyewu,
right.
that's all he's known as.
Yeah.
He's never done anything else, but co-own Onyx with Chris Gordon is hanging out with us too. So he was the one in the background going, Stranger Things.
Right.
Yeah.
You said you had one more serious one?
Yeah. So this one, and I know that we wanted to talk about the Ali Krieger Sports Complex. So I think this kind of ties into this last question, which is, what do you want your legacy to be?
Ooh.
Whoa. I want my legacy to be that, I am changing the game, hopefully for the better, but also leaving it better than where I found it. And I think that if that is just giving back a little bit of the knowledge that I've learned along the way, also just maybe helping players help themselves in the sense that, showing how passionate and determined and competitive that I am towards, a sport that I love, that, I can hopefully rub that off on them and inspire them to want to continue to get better at the game and continue to, be as passionate as I am, if not more. And I think that is something that just leave the game better than where I found it, or where I left it. And I want to continue to help stay within the game, help women's football around the world grow, and especially in our country, because we need it. And I think that just to try and get fans to love watching women's soccer.
And talk about the sports complex, because that's a part of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so honored and grateful that, Prince William County, where I grew up and helped mold me into the person I am today at a young age. I think that, I'm just so inspired by this complex because it's, a huge complex with, I think, 9 to 10 fields, also baseball, softball, soccer, but they named the complex after me, and that was after the World Cup in 2015. And then the ribbon cutting ceremony is supposed to be spring 2018.
Nice.
So coming up soon.
You went and visited yesterday, right?
Yeah, I went to go visit it and just check in on the fields. And they had 2 turf fields set up, a baseball, softball field, and then they have a Bermuda grass field set up, which is going to be, I think, the main stadium.
Nice.
That's
and
awesome.
I think that was really important because, obviously, I love playing on grass, so that was really important to hopefully have a grass field that was put in. And
That's cool.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
So are you looking forward to getting to train Ali Krieger at the Ali Krieger complex?
Yeah.
That actually would be pretty cool.
I think that should happen.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
What do I know?
No.
And then you're starting to do some more camps and clinics and stuff too, right?
Hopefully there's going to be a big announcement about that soon, and you're obviously going to be involved as much as you can, but soon. I just want to continue to grow the game, especially in this area, and I know that I have a good group of coaches that are going to be at these camps and going to give great knowledge about the game, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm hoping to start that up in 2018. So to be continued on that.
Yeah, and people want to find out more, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff,
Absolutely.
website?
Yeah, they can go on the website. That should be up in the next, month.
The website will be up, or the announcement?
No,
okay.
the website's up,
Okay.
but
And
announcements
your
and
website
everything.
is?
AliKrieger.com.
Easy enough. And you're on Twitter and Instagram at Ali Krieger too, so people can follow
We got
you
all
there.
that switched this year just to
Very-
make sure everything's
Very
connected.
convenient.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
That's it for me.
That's it? All right, that's it for me. Do you have anything else we'd like to say to everybody, or are you ready to go work out now?
No, thank you guys. I don't know. I can't wait to see you guys at a game in the near future.
Let's do it. We will do that. Gooch, thanks for stopping by. For Chris and Allie and Gooch, I'm Craig Hoffman. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week for our year-end special here on the Train with the Best podcast.